Welcome to FA Cup Files, ESTD 1871, where football's oldest trophy tells its greatest stories. Step into history with FA Cup Files, a tribute to grit, glory, and the birth of the beautiful game. Since 1871, legends have been made. FA Cup Files brings you the stories time tried to forget. Ernest Mangnall, 1903 to 1912. FA Cup wins, 1, 1909. Achievement, won Manchester United's first ever FA Cup in 1909, beating Bristol City 1-0. Significance, marked United's first major domestic cup success. James Ernest Mangnall, the 30th of May 1864 to the 13th of January 1932, was an English football manager who started his career with Burnley and managed Manchester United between 1903 to 1912, and then went on to manage Manchester City from 1912 to 1924, and is the only man to have managed both clubs. Managerial career. Burnley. Born in Bolton, Lancashire, Mangnall played amateur football as a goalkeeper and was a director at Bolton Wanderers. He started his career in football management with Burnley in March 1900, when he was hired as the club's second official manager following the departure of Harry Bradshaw almost a year earlier. The side was struggling when he joined the club, and with just 1 month of the 1899 to 1900 season remaining, relegation to the second division seemed almost inevitable. Their relegation was confirmed on the 28th of April 1900 after a 4-0 defeat away at Nottingham Forest. He signed 3 players, Henry Collins, Jimmy Lindsay, and George Lockhart, in the close season. The team achieved a third-placed finish in their first season in the second division and finished 9th the following year. The team's fortunes suffered a swift decline in the 1902-03 season, and Burnley finished bottom of the Football League and were forced to apply for re-election. Burnley were re-elected and Mangnall started the next campaign as manager, but he left the club in October 1903 to join second division rivals Manchester United. Manchester United. Mangnall was hired as the third secretary of Manchester United and the second after the club changed its name from Newton Heath. The term manager was not used at United until the arrival of Jack Robson. He led the club to its first major trophy and first league title by winning the First Division title in 1908. With 2 First Division titles, 1 FA Cup, and 2 Charity Shield trophies, he remains the third most successful manager at the club. He started his management at Manchester United in 1903 and saw his team narrowly miss promotion in his first 2 seasons before success at the third attempt, as the club finished as runners-up in the second division. In the first season in the First Division, the club finished in mid-table. However, in only their second season in the First Division, he managed United to their first ever league championship in 1907-08 by a 9-point margin over Aston Villa. The following year saw United drop below mid-table, but the club won its first FA Cup with a 1-0 victory in the final against Bristol City, the winner scored by Sandy Turnbull. The following season saw no new silverware, but the team improved its league position to 5th. In the 1910-11 season the club were champions again, beating Aston Villa into second place by just 1 point. It would be club's last league championship for over 40 years, its longest ever run without a league title. The next season was his last in charge at the club. He would eventually leave for a similar position at Manchester City. Manchester City. Mangnall moved to Manchester City directly from United. His last game in charge of the Reds was the Manchester Derby of September 1912 against City, when it was already known he would become City manager. The Blues won 1-0 at Old Trafford, and the media focused on Mangnall's delight. He managed City from 1912 until 1924. The interruption of World War I meant his spell there only covered 8 Football League seasons. However, the club did find success in wartime regional tournaments. His best season with the club was 1920-21, when City would finish runners-up in the First Division, the top level of English football at the time. Mangnall's place in Mancunian football is significant, as many believe he was the instigator behind United's move to Old Trafford and City. City's move to Main Road. Honours. Manchester United manager. First Division, 2 1907-08, 1910-11. FA Cup, 1 1908-09. FA Charity Shield, 2 1908-1911. Thanks for tuning into FA Cup Files. where every cup run holds a tale, and we're here to tell them all. From first whistles to last-minute winners, FA Cup Files will be here, uncovering football's finest. Subscribe and stay with us on FA Cup Files, where the magic never fades, and the legends live on.